Hi guys. Hello everyone. Thank you for joining and welcome to the third webinar in our Telecom series. My name is Andrej Radovčić and I'm International Business Development Manager in front of GDI. Most of you know, but for those who don't, I'll briefly explain who we are. GDI is a global provider of applied technology solutions across many industries, but primarily telecommunications. We are particularly well known for leadership in the field of OSS, DSS, cloud computing, and GIS for both the commercial and public market segments. GDI is also an authorized distributor and partner of the leading global GIS company, Esri, from USA. When talking about our vast experience in the telecommunications industry, we have been working with big companies all across the globe. Here you can see just a few of our references. In Europe, we have provided our services to Orange Poland, Euro2 Poland, A1 Telekom Austria Group, which includes countries like Austria, Belarus, Croatia, Macedonia, Slovenia and Serbia, and Deutsche Telekom in Croatia. Aside from those telecom companies, we have worked with public administration too, for example for Polish regional government. Regarding our global presence, we worked with companies such as Transtelco in Mexico, Telebucaramanga in Colombia, Advea in United Arab Emirates, Tele2 in Russia, and all the way to the Far East with Convergent Philippines. Now let's turn to the schedule for today. After my brief introduction to the webinar, Dominic will give a quick recap of our previous telecom webinars and then provide an overview of automated scheduling system. After that, you will see an example for our long-term client A1 Croatia, part of Telekom Austria, who will tell you more about how we helped automatize their business. We will close the webinar with demos of how does GDI scheduler really look like in action. Now I will just briefly touch upon today's topic. Today you will learn how automated scheduling system can easily and quickly be implemented in your own organization. As more organizations shift to a customer-oriented business model, the process of scheduling field workforce activities becomes more complex. Manual processes of scheduling are no longer efficient and are unable to keep pace with an organization's other work processes. Our optimization tool utilizes artificial intelligence to help organizations select the most appropriate employee for any task based on their specific skills, location, availability, and other important features. The GDI scheduling feature automatically creates optimized schedules, together with all required information about the work activities. Hence, the monotonous and lengthy activity of scheduling tasks is avoided. The feature is quickly able to create the most cost-effective schedule, considering all parameters for available resources. Benefits that arise from that include a decrease in the field workforce travel times, reduced fuel costs, more efficient resource utilization, and improved customer satisfaction. Lastly, before I hand you over to Dominic, I want to encourage you to actively participate in today's webinar by leaving comments or asking questions in the Q&A pane on the right side of your Teams window. If you will have any additional comments or inquiries, feel free to also send them after the webinar at our email or via web form. Of course, I also stand at your disposal via my email or mobile phone for any individual consultations. I will now give the floor to Dominic Pereškic, our Solutions Development Director for Global Industry, who will remind us of the previous two telecom webinars we held this year and give an overview of our automated scheduling systems.
Hello everybody. My name is Dominic Pereškic and I work at GDI as Executive Director for Business and Solutions Development. Today, we have third in our series of telecommunication webinars. For starters, just a short reminder what we have seen in our last two sessions. On first webinar, we have shown you how to plan, design, and build the network and how to automatically store all necessary data in network inventory system. Beside that, we have also talked about operating the network and show you efficient ways to repair faults. Basically, first webinar was related to plan, build, and run of telecommunications network and proposals how to make these processes more efficient. On our second webinar, on agenda, we had moved closer to the customers. We were talking about the most adequate ways to fulfill customer requests. One of the main prerequisites to do that successfully was quality of the data stored in network inventory system and usage of that data during customer ordering process. So, we were using exactly same data that we have stored during plan, build and run to start the provisioning process here. In order to do that in efficient manner, we need a tool that will enable us to do this process in automized manner as much as possible. This tool or module that we are using and that we have shown is called Service Order Management System. Remember, this is a catalog-driven process of decomposing orders received from customer relationship management systems and using resource data from network inventory below, which at the end activates customer services. Best way to do it, of course, is to have as little human interaction as possible. So we have spoken about and introduced the term called zero-touch provisioning, which is basically installation of network appliance on customer premises without need of any manual configuration or customer visit. We have demonstrated all these processes using GDI Ensemble telecommunication suite modules. Okay, but can we do really all of this work without any human interaction? The answer is, of course, no, we cannot. Even in the most advanced and digitized networks, especially when we are talking about wired line services, in some processes you need manual work. Either it is a customer visit by technician, or some manual configuration in back office, or even some fixing of data in systems in order to enable it to fulfill customer needs. These steps are unavoidable and they are a crucial part of each provisioning process. Now, when we understand that we, unfortunately, cannot do everything in zero-touch provisioning manner, we are now facing another challenge. If we need manual work, what is the most efficient way to do it? Each technician visit is additional cost, and it is even a bigger cost if technician's work is not organized in the way that when he does the work, he does his routes in efficient manner. It is not the same if technician can do, for example, 3 tasks in one day, or if he can do 6 tasks in one day. It is much difference between those two. So, first we need to be certain, as much as possible, that what technicians do is actually necessary work to be done. That's the first step. So, work by the technician needs to be really, really important in order to really send the technician on the field. This can be done with a good triage process that happens before we send technician out. In this triage process, we really have algorithms that actually can decide and can measure, do some automatic measuring or some other steps that will help us to decide whether we really need to schedule a work for the technician to go out or not. Second, when we know that our human interactions really needed, then we need to combine these manual tasks with available and skilled employees in a way that we do them as much as possible with highest possible quality. Beside that, we need to follow some business rules and prioritizations because, not all of the tasks have same priority. If we consider also variety of services that we need to provide to customers, even on a first look, it is becoming clear that this is not something that you can easily do especially if you try to organize this work manually. Fortunately, there are specialized tools, digital tools, that can significantly help us to do this work much better. These tools are called workforce management tools. Here at GDI, as a part of GDI Ensemble telecommunication suite, we have workforce management module that we call GDI Ensemble W4. What exactly is W4? These W's in W4 name stand for what needs to be done, where it needs to be done, when it needs to be done, and of course, who needs to do it. GDI Ensemble W4 module is part of service order management process, and inside it, tasks can be triggered and monitored either from outside system, some kind of order orchestration system, or manually using W4 graphical user interface. It offers integration through standard integration points, those are standardized APIs, to integrate either to CRM system, for example, on the northbound, or resource management system on the background, or any kind of other systems from which we need to import data to operate with these manual tasks. Each employee that is registered in W4's work management system is described with personal information, way of communication, it's his email or phone number, etc., his organization, and of course the zone where he can operate with set of skills for technologies and types of work that he can work on. Based on all of this information, W4 has automatic assign engine mechanism that makes employee information from one side and task information from the other side, and then combines those information and creates most efficient way to do manual work. On top of it, these tasks can be automatically scheduled to technicians, and in that process, technicians receive notifications on their mobile phone, and using their mobile W4 application, they know exactly what they need to do, in which order they need to do it, where they need to do it, and where they need to go. Using standardized APIs mentioned before, these schedules can be given to any third-party systems that needs information about these tasks. These third-party systems can even schedule these tasks together with just getting info about them. For example, you have CRM system that is being used by your customer support. Using standardized APIs, these CRM systems can be easily integrated to W4 scheduling engine and get information about free time slots, and in direct communication with customer service, then through that system task, can be assigned to W4 scheduler. From W4 scheduler, of course, when the task is assigned, then technician receives notification and technician knows again automatically when he needs to go to do some work, where he needs to go, and what he needs to do. This good thing about W4 is that it is configurable in a very high degree. This really means that you can configure employees, skills, working zones, organizations, and much other stuff. But even more, administrative users can configure any form, field, attribute, status reason, task type, states, processes, etc., etc. Using inbuilt functionalities in W4, you can collaborate, chat, escalate, and notify any user either manually or by configuring set of rules how to do that automatically. W4 is best of breed, powerful workforce management tool that is now used in many of our telecommunication clients, but also clients in other industries, and it hugely optimizes their operations in managing of their field work. In most of the cases, when we are introducing W4 in environment which did not have any workforce management system before, savings on field work rises above 50%. Let's now see in first-hand experiences from industry using this tool in production, and right after that, let's take a look at demonstration how this system looks in real life work.
Hi, my name is Slobodan Matanovic. I work in A1 as an analyst in fixed access network operations, and we are in charge of process support. Part of our business is digitalization and transformation of business. Our main goal is to increase the customer satisfaction, increase profits, shorten the processes, automatize whatever is able to be automatized, and digitalize our business in any way that's possible. We are doing so using the GDI tools. Before we started our cooperation with GDI, our process was very long and inefficient. It had a lot of steps and they were all done manually, like creating the work order, assigning the work order, taking the time slot, putting the devices on, provisioning the devices, adding material, sending the devices on the user, on our customer, archiving the documents, adding the invoice. Everything was done step by step. But using the GDI tools since 2016 till today, we have been able to shorten it only to 3 steps: from creating the work order, doing the work order, and afterwards just checking that everything is okay, which is also the last step is not mandatory, something that can be done if needed, if the limits have been broken by the normative threshold. So that shortening of process has made it easier for us to track the whole process from the beginning to end, reduce the manual work, increase the customer experience, raise our effectiveness, raise our profits, and also be able to provide our customers with better service, by that way increasing our NPS. What the future brings us is a better way of prediction, optimization, and automatization and digitalization of the whole process that has already now been reduced to the smallest number of steps that is possible. Start in the beginning, it's only 1 step. It's all been done by a couple of clicks. And that's something that our customers can experience in the best way possible. That's something that we are grateful for to GDI. And with that extra future steps, we can do something like optimization. When talking about optimization, now we have to understand that the algorithm that has been especially written for A1 and for all our business rules by GDI, the whole new programming language has been able to provide us the best time slots and reservations for our work orders according to customers' wishes. So taking consideration like Uber. Uber has, let's call it work orders, their routes created in real time. You are here, you get a call here, you go there, and it's been done step by step. On the other hand, we can take Amazon, for example. Amazon has their work orders, let's call it, their deliveries taken in a bulk, and later on, without time slot, you can put your own route together the best way is suited for you. But what GDI and A1 have done via scheduler is something in between that and a lot more complex. We have the exact time slot, the route, and customers' wishes, and also our technicians on the field and objectives that we want to have in mind when creating those work orders and dispatching them. So if you want to see what is going to be like tomorrow for the work orders and the route, you can get it by the end of the night. Okay, today you're here at 10 o'clock, at 12 o'clock you're here, at 1 o'clock you're there, but that route cannot always be the best suited for our workers. And optimization for the future, what we are planning, we'll do something that will, okay, take all those orders, get a time slot, but also in real time, it will listen to other work orders that are coming and, okay, this is the best route, the best option for A1 and the customer and everybody at this moment. But another work order comes and maybe it's a better option. It's a self-organizing system that will work on high scale of cost effectiveness and optimization that's possible. We are very excited about that and we are looking forward to it with GDI and A1 together.
Thank you, Slobodan, for sharing your experiences with GDI. It makes us really happy that our solutions assist you in your everyday operations. The last presenters of the day are my colleagues Borislav Rajčević and Otto Singer, who will demonstrate you GDI ensemble solutions.
Hi, hello, welcome from GDI office here in Zagreb. My name is Otto Singer and I will guide you through today's presentation about successful collaboration between ourselves and A1 Croatia. We have successfully implemented a module of GDI Ensemble called W4 Scheduler, and our partners at A1 are using it at the production level constantly day to day, and it has helped them to improve their own business model and their own operating. So my role here is to demonstrate a quick demo on what exactly are A1 using this software for. So I think that without any further ado, maybe we can dig into it and show you the details with the user interface. So let's start with the basic introduction to our user interface. Here at the right side of the screen you can see a timeline for all of your workers. Just a little note here, I am using a demo environment for this presentation and logically not the A1 production environment, but it is configured in a way that it replicates most of the features that is visible there. So in this case we have 9 workers configured here. Each of the workers have a specific time availability set. Now what is time availability? Time availability is basically a working hour for your worker, and it is marked with a white timetable here in the timeline visible, while the gray marking is outside of the working hours, and it is the time that workers are officially not working. So these colors on the screen, they represent tasks that workers need to do in their regular working day. They are colored differently, which indicates a different types of tasks that workers are working on. For example, the yellow ones are troubleshooting tasks. For example, if a customer reported any technical problem with infrastructure or with its own service, a worker is going to have to go out to the field and check it out and repair it eventually. So that's the troubleshooting task. Then we have activation, which is basically installing a new service to a new customer. And further on there are technology change locations, deactivation, and others. So we have basically made quite an effort for the user who is gonna basically manage all the workers on a field to have as clear as possible view on which tasks are assigned to which workers and at which time. Further on, each worker has a corresponding set of skills. Not all workers can work on all tasks. Some technicians are dedicated to work with the troubleshooting tasks. Some of them are dedicated to work with others. In this case, we have a system configured where first 3 workers and the 9th, the last technician, is operating only with troubleshooting tasks, while others can do more of them. Each of these tasks visible on timeline is also visible in the left part of the screen. So, for example, if I do select one of them here in timeline, I will be directly transferred to view the exact task in so-called task list. Now, task list is a list of daily tasks which are already in a daily plan, but also new tasks which need scheduling in the future. This task in task list is defined by quite a few attributes and its own status. So if we check the details of task by clicking the details button here, we can see the task location where the technology change task is going to be executed at. We can see its status up here in the right upper corner, which says scheduled, which means that the task has already been assigned to a technician at a specific time. To make it easier for the dispatcher to produce a daily plan and assign tasks to all of the workers, there are a couple of tools that make it more simple. For example, at the top of the screen in the segment around task list, we have a search which corresponds to basically any searchable field here. So we can, for example, search for a street name, and after that we can get a filtered list of all tasks that need to go on some certain location to the entered address in this example. We also have sorting. For example, we can sort by dates. If we have some tasks that have not been assigned to any workers from, for example, yesterday, then we can put them on top. Next, we have filters that we can filter by a task type. So task types are, as I said earlier, activation, troubleshooting, change location, and others. For example, let's pick activation task here. And we can assign the activation task to a worker. Now, as I said earlier, not all workers have the same set of skills to implement this task. So what we are going to do is next. There is an option on a task itself which says find suitable resources. Now what this will do, this will adjust the timeline in a way to present the dispatcher only technicians which can indeed implement this task. So the first way to assign tasks to a technician is by simply drag and dropping it onto the desired time. Now this is purely a dispatcher's choice, so it is done just like this. The task is now visible on timeline, but it can also be seen on the map. As I said earlier, each task has its own location, its own address, city and zip code of course, but it also stores its x and y coordinates. So if we choose an option to show the selected task on map, the user interface will transfer to the map alongside with timeline, which is positioned here. It will zoom to an extent to show the selected task in the middle of the screen, and also it would highlight it with this light blue color. The setting for the color now is, as we can see in this submenu here, is to color tasks by task type. If we move back to timeline, we can see that the task type of activation is colored light blue, while the troubleshooting one is colored with yellow. If we choose another option, which is color task by status, it will basically indicate the dispatcher in which state tasks are currently in. There is also another option to color tasks by resource, where each distinct resource, or maybe we can use the term technician, has its own color, so it's easier for the dispatchers to make a brief overview of which technicians have which tasks. Instead of manually assigning tasks to technicians, Dispatcher has a specific tool at his disposal to basically suggest which times to assign and which technicians to assign the selected task to. Now, how exactly this works? We select a new task from the task list, for example this one, the activation one, and there is an option in its submenu to trigger the so-called assigning process. Now, this is we call it a automated assignment engine, which takes a task in a new state and basically calculates in the background and suggests to dispatcher which of the technicians with available time availability or which are working currently, which are in their working hours, to implement the task on the field. So we also have a rating here. Now the first suggested one also has the highest rating, and it is by our engine calculated the most efficient way and the most efficient technician in this time to assign this task to. So we select this one, November the 12th, from 2 to 2:50 p.m. and we select assign. So as we can see, the task has been successfully assigned to a technician of our choice at the specific time that we chose it, also from 2 to 2:50 p.m. The automated assignment engine, or this assign function that I just showed you, can also be used to find possibly a different time slot for tasks for activating. For example, your customer cancels the exact time scheduled, and you need to propose to him another one. You can do it by basically triggering the solve process again with only one minor difference. Now the option is called reschedule. Now we get a view for basically another different recommendation list, maybe for other workers, for other times, and possibly even for other dates. So let's take for example that we transfer this task to another technician. The first one we used was technician 4, now it's technician 6. But we can use a different time, let's say a bit later, from 2:50 to 3:40 p.m. And by assigning it, basically the sole action of transferring responsible technicians is complete. Another option here is to basically unassign task from technician. For example, if a customer has completely cancelled the process or any other reason, the dispatcher can do it like so. He selects the task that he wants to unassign or cancel and just simply trigger an option to unassign it. Task will not be anymore visible on the technician's timeline, or the technician will not have the assignment. Another important functionality we have developed for A1 Croatia is business rules. Business rules are used to replicate real-life business specifics in a simple way where setting up is done easily and efficiently. To view if business rules was triggered, the dispatcher selects an option to view business rules log, and dispatcher is presented with the following message. In this case, the business rule did not execute, and the message says because of the activation did not include an additional port, expected duration for the selected task has not changed. And now I'm going to show you how it is to create a task in which all conditions for these business rules are met. In this example, we have a create form for an activation tasks. Let's just type in a address for this and make sure that additional port for this activation task is selected, which is a precondition for the business rule. We submit the task, open it in scheduler, and we can see that its expected duration is 120 minutes. And now to demonstrate the effect of business rule. As we said earlier, the created task one we have just created has an expected duration of 120 minutes, and in comparison to other activation tasks, we can see that the other activation tasks have a predefined expected duration set to exactly 50 minutes. So, if the system recognizes that activation task is having an additional port for installing, then it will extend the expected duration automatically to 120 minutes. We have made our software easily configurable, so it's able to adapt to all changing situations in a very short time. A1 recognized this as a very valuable feature that helps them on a daily basis. And with this, I'm going to wrap up my presentation. Thank you for your attention and enjoy the rest of the webinar.
Hi everyone, my name is Borislav, and in the next few minutes I will present you GDI Ensemble track and trace solution. In our everyday work we are using all kind of equipment and tools either for our own work or for the end user. All that equipment, in essence our assets, have significant value both in financial and operational sense. Additionally, very often our core business depends on it. Challenge we are facing is knowing the location of our assets to be able to use it in the best and most efficient way for our business. This challenge is equally important for the equipment and assets used by our end users. To answer on this challenge, we created solutions for tracking our valuable assets, whether it's equipment, tools, and so on. This solution is called the GDI Ensemble Asset Track and Trace. It is based on active and passive tracking hardware, and it's made out of tracking tags and beacons with associated readers. Readers can be implemented in enclosed areas, on door portals, vehicles, etc., and in that way they can detect existence and movement of our assets. With possibility to integrate our solution with existing ERP systems, user is able to track asset from the moment of acquiring it or buying it to the moment it is sold on, in other words, through whole life cycle of that asset. GDI Ensemble Asset Track and Trace is cloud-based solution, and by using modern technologies and design is very widely available and easy to use. Coupled with integration possibilities, it provides user with best possible solution, no matter on their size and type of business. Everything is also supported on mobile apps for both Android and iOS. Solution is intended for users that use mobile assets on everyday basis, and they have high priority in knowing the exact location of those assets to be able to use it efficiently. Also, it is intended for end users receiving different types of equipment and tools.
Here we are in GDI Ensemble A3, and we go into the leading telecom operator demo. We can see there's a warehouse central and a warehouse new city. Inside the central warehouse, we can see some equipment that needs to be delivered, including some routers. We're going to take a look at the details of this router number TO1. We can see the location by clicking zoom to, and then we can see the location on the map. This is being tracked by RFID technology. We can see a car coming in to pick up the router that needs to be delivered to a new warehouse to be delivered to a customer. In real time, we can see the tracker of the router switching to the car, and the asset list on the left side will load and switch the router to the vehicle ZG1234AB and follow it along the map. This way, we can track and trace our assets at any given moment and have a complete history of where our assets were at a given time. Now we're going to go ahead and see where the asset was delivered in the warehouse new city. The item, router TO1, is now waiting for final delivery. It will be picked up by another vehicle. As you can see again, the asset is transferred with Bluetooth technology or RFID technology into the car and is now belonging to a different car license plate. It is delivered in the final location at House Miller. We can see that the asset is now transferred to our customer's District 1 House Miller in the new city. When we click on more details, we can see one attachment is now active. It is the Miller order confirmation form, a PDF document including the signature of receipt of the item. This is how you can track and trace all your assets from warehouse to delivery.
In the end, every organization that have mobile asset with certain value have need for tracking and tracing it. Some of users of our systems like this are telco operators and distributors of all kinds. Whether it is equipment needed for our system to work or tools used to install it, it is desirable to know its exact location. That way we can not only track it, but be aware of what equipment is in use and where, like network equipment like routers, modems, etc. Equipment like this is normally used on certain locations and through some work order system. With a solution like this, we can be sure that piece of equipment that is used in that specific work is exactly the one intended to be used, without risk of operator taking the wrong box or some similar user error. With Asset Track and Trace, it is also possible to monitor equipment that is on certain location, like a warehouse, and to have constant information about list of available equipment. We can also on demand ask readers to detect all the available equipment to have latest availability per location. This in effect is a replacement for physical inventory process, not only for warehouses but for all our locations like base station, remote location and so on. By implementing GDI Ensemble Asset Track and Trace solution, our customers are able to use their equipment more efficiently through continuous awareness of its location and use, and at the same time reducing errors and bottlenecks in daily operations. Less time is used for tracking and paperwork, distribution process is highly improved, and equipment or assets visibility is highly improved. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Borislav and Otto. This is a great conclusion to our today's conference. Dear participants, thank you for your attention, and again, feel free to contact me at my email so that we can further discuss specific challenges that you face in your everyday business and how GDI can help you resolve them. Once again, thank you and enjoy the rest of your day.